Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
Oh, hey, Internet. Welcome back to another episode of the Intoxicated podcast. This is typically a podcast where I have my friends on and we talk about life, and it's normally very comedic and fun and meant to make you laugh. This week is a little bit different. I had different plans for what I was going to release this week, and then on Monday, I woke up to the Me Too movement. It's really hard for me to describe what I was feeling that day. I spent a lot of time scrolling my Facebook feed and just reading different statuses, and I just felt a wide range of emotions. I felt very, very sad, very angry, shocked at the magnitude of it, but also kind of not surprised at the same time. Just the sheer amount of people who are posting hashtag Me Too, people that I don't even know that well, who are fighting battles that I didn't even know about. Really the whole point of the movement was to show just how many women are affected by sexual harassment and assault and abuse. And admittedly, at first, I didn't really want to just write hashtag Me Too. I instantly knew I wanted to do an episode about it because this is my platform. Some people write blogs, some people write songs or create art, and this podcast is what I'm doing. So if you have been listening to the show, you do know that I make a lot of jokes. I make a lot of jokes, kind of self-deprecating jokes, and jokes about not getting laid, and it's all very kind of in good fun, but fact of the matter is there's a lot of stuff going on there, and I've had a couple of experiences that have shaped my life in ways that I never really even thought possible. These things take time to realize, and that's one of the main points of this podcast, is to show that you don't always know right away when you've been assaulted or harassed. So anyways, I started asking around two different female friends who might be open to talking about it. Certainly no pressure, because I totally understand that it is not everyone's personality to talk so openly about it. Everyone deals in their own way. I've always been someone who deals by talking about it. So I was extremely lucky to find 3 different female friends of mine willing to come on and have a really brutally honest discussion about this. I have my friends Amanda and Shannon on, who have both done previous episodes of the podcast. Amanda actually did an episode with me that we kind of talked about sexual assault, the Kesha episode. We touched on that. We touched on her particular situation. And so I knew Amanda has a knowledge of this stuff that we would need to hear about. And Shannon has had her own experience that I know about from living with her. So I kind of knew her past experience and knew she was willing to talk about it. Shannon is from episode 16, and I'm sure she will be back on as well. But we did also have my friend Carmen, who is very new to the podcast and was awesome enough to come on. And Carmen actually kind of talked me through my emotions that I was going through on that day that hashtag Me Too started. And we were really lucky to get her on. So I have three different friends, 4 different stories. I'm extremely lucky that this happened, because what happened in the room when this was recorded was so much more than what I thought it was going to be. I really just kind of thought it would be us telling our stories and that would be about it, but it was so much more than that. A lot of learning, a lot of thinking about things differently, and learning from each other and seeing common threads and things, and supporting each other despite all 4 of us having very different situations and different experiences, but it's all under the same kind of idea of that our consent was disrespected. And that's something that is important to take away from this, is that there is no experience too small. And no matter what you went through, no matter what it was, what you felt was real and it affected you. And that's what matters. And you matter. No one should ever have to feel like they don't matter. So I thought it was really important to do this. I will say that when I do talk about my experience, it was very, very hard for me. And I mention it in the episode that I tend to hide behind my guests. Like, I tend to focus on them and their stories and their expertise and ask them questions, and bits and pieces of my life will come out. But I've never spoken in great detail about what happened to me. So this was the first time putting it on mic. And I gotta say, it was really cathartic for me and made me realize a lot about my experience. I had a really bad experience almost 2 years ago that resulted in probably one of the worst times in my entire life. I talk about the experience in the episode, so definitely keep listening, and you'll hear about it. But I gotta say, I'm still healing over it. I'll never be over what happened. Actually, the promo image that I used, that I'm using for this first part of the episode, was taken a few months after my experience. Essentially what happened was that I had a really bad experience, and it spiraled me into this really bad depression, and I got super self-destructive. I was drinking a lot. I was pissing off my friends. I was acting out. I was lashing out at people for different things because I was going through so much pain that I did not even really realize. And I even deleted social media for I think a solid week, which is huge for me because I'm obsessed with social media. And I just had to do a reset. And the picture that you actually see in the promo image was the first picture I posted after coming back to social media. After that, kind of coming out on the other side and realizing that I was okay and I was ready to essentially move on and get better. So it was hard for me to talk about, but this is my platform. I'm done being silent about it. I don't want to be silent. I want to speak out, and so do my guests on this episode. So I will say that definitely the parts where we talk about our experiences could be triggering. I will be very sure to put timestamps in the description of the episode to just let you know what's coming. I will say that about the first part, the first half or so of the episode is a lot of just sort of general commentary on the movement and also everything that's going on in the entertainment industry. So it's up to you if you want to keep listening after that. Totally up to you. Obviously, do not keep listening if it is going to be triggering or if it's going to upset you. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I know it's a totally different tone than probably what you're used to if you've listened to the show, but super important to me, and this is probably the episode I'm most proud of so far. It is going to be a 2-parter episode, so there is going to be a part 2 coming up. Hopefully next week I will find a time to release that, as I do have other episodes planned that I don't want to disregard. Halloween is coming up, so I don't want to disregard that, but I do think it's important to kind of split this up in digestible parts. So this first part, like I said, is just commentary on the movement, commentary on sexual assault in the entertainment industry, and we get into my story and we get into Carmen's story. So in part 2, we will pick up kind of where we left off and talk about Shannon's experience and Amanda's experience, and then kind of go into some closing remarks and kind of what I called action items, what men should do to change how they treat women. I do think a lot of this is how men and women are socialized, and women are socialized in a way to accept this, and men are kind of socialized in a way to do it. And I think it's important to realize the parts of your behavior that is contributing to this, because you might not even realize that you're doing it. So I really hope this movement is going to spark some sort of change. It's really hard for me to say that it will or will not, but I do have a small sense of hope that in doing this and talking more openly about it and having women come out and talk about it, it's going to hopefully do something. If anything, I hope women who have been through similar situations will not feel alone anymore. And I hope it helps them. So definitely, if you listen to this and you're someone who was affected by it and this helped you in any way, please let me know. This was a hard one for me, and it's kind of putting my heart and soul out there. So if it does help you, I would love to know your feedback on that and how you felt about the episode. So be sure to comment, or you can send in an email to the Intoxicated Gmail account, which is intoxicatedpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, make sure you are following us on all the socials. You can like us on Facebook at Intoxicated Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at also Intoxicated Podcast, and on Twitter at @in_toxicated. You can find all the episodes from the Intoxicated Podcast and Intoxicated reviews on our website at www.intoxicatedpodcast.com. I also want to let everyone know that there is help out there. One place I do want to mention is the Avalon Sexual Assault Center. If you go to their website, avalоncenter.ca, there's a lot of resources for you to check out there. And if you do need to call them, their number is 902-422-4240, and that's here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. But certainly look up any sexual assault centers in your area if you are not in Halifax. There's tons out there, so please make sure you do that. I will also post links in the description and wherever I post this, so you can easily find it. The other one I want to mention is the Halifax Sexual Health Center. They have a community directory of a bunch of different places that have different services. So if you do need help, if you do need to talk to somebody, please do not hesitate to reach out to them, because that is what they are there for. Anyways, guys, that was rough. I'm shocked I got through that without crying. Very proud of myself. So I hope you enjoy this episode. So welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast, and I'm saying this in a non-energetic voice because this is going to be a very hard one. This is a little bit of a deviation from my regular comedic podcast, but this is something we need to talk about. So I'm super lucky to be here with 3 of my female friends. And we're going to talk about the Me Too campaign and sexual assault and sexual abuse. And I'm very happy to have you guys, and thank you so much for coming. So let's go around the table and just do quick intros. We have 2 returning guests on here who have done the podcast before. Shannon.
Well, that's me.
It is Shannon.
Hi, everybody.
The Cam Girling episode. Go listen to it.
That's right. Go listen to it. So my numbers still are better than my brother's.
That's right. And we have Amanda, who was on the Kesha episode.
Yes. Hi, everyone.
And I knew she'd be back. I knew I'd get you back at some point, and I jumped at the chance to get you on because you're the right person for this. And we have a new guest.
Yay.
Carmen.
Hello.
You're using like a podcast voice.
Love it.
A phone.
I should be a sex worker. Sex phone worker.
It's actually really
That
good.
is actually good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Oh my
Someone
goodness.
hire this one. Like,
Right? Yeah, you need it. And we have some wine on the go. We have red and white wine. It was the cheapest wine I could find. Just being honest.
It's
I
delicious.
bought the same bottle earlier at the same place.
Right?
$9.99.
surprisingly good.
It is Peller Estates French Cross, Shiraz, and Pinot Grigio.
Nom, nom, nom.
$9.99 a bottle.
$9.99.
It was made in Winona,
It's cheap.
Ontario.
And Canadian.
Canadian.
You can also get the boxed wine, which is like $40. Yeah,
But you know what? That's a good deal.
it's a good deal.
That's like 5 bottles in one.
Yeah, box wine is very, very, very well priced.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rouge Rail is my babe.
Nice.
Yum. So, not to bury the... Well, let's do a cheers. Why not? It feels kind of weird cheersing to this subject matter, but...
Cheers to women.
Yeah, exactly.
Being friends. Oh, I guess I should.
It's more of the idea that I think this is bringing 4 people together that I think, might not have sat in a room together before, is one way to look at it. So we are here today to talk about the Me Too campaign that's going around. Is it, would you call it a campaign? Movement, maybe, is a better word to describe it.
Yeah, a kind of
movement.
Yeah, it's not organized, so campaign doesn't sit quite right.
It doesn't.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Going around social media. So this happened. What day was it? Was it Tuesday? Monday?
Like Monday or Tuesday.
It was it was Monday, I think.
Yeah.
So this kind of just flooded my feed. how do we feel about it? Like, let's just kind of talk about our first couple reactions to it. Because when I just pulled up my feed and I just saw someone literally have Me Too, and my first instinct was, what?
Me Too what?
So I Googled it, and that's when it came up. And admittedly, I won't lie, I saw it and I said, oh, that's kind of cool. But the stance I took was, it's a little chainmail-y. I think what I said my first status was I'm not going to copy and paste my experience. I'm going to do a podcast about it.
I like that. I'm not going to copy and paste my experience.
That's just what I said, but I was feeling kind of...
Beautifully put.
I was in a different energy. And then the next morning when I went to work, and it was throughout the day, just scrolling. I started seeing statuses that were more detailed and a little more, and then I started thinking about my own experience, and I was actually messaging with Carmen that day, being just like, I never feel triggered, and I felt a little triggered.
Well, I mean, for me, it was really seeing people who don't participate on the online feminist conversation contributing. Like, there's all kinds of hashtags that go around within the feminist community, but that people I work with or people I know socially probably don't even know exist, and like they were posting it. Like that is a pretty powerful statement.
Isn't that crazy?
And for like the first one that I saw was an extremely detailed one, and it was from an old coworker that I already knew her story. We were super, super close. She moved away, and like I already knew this, but I remember specifically saying, "Don't tell anyone this happened."
Yeah.
And then this came up, and she posted it online, and I'm like, "Girl, like
so
that is." Something else,
right?
Where and then they just kept flooding in exactly like that day, just kept coming in,
consecutive. Just
and that's the thing, my attitude totally
everywhere.
changed. My attitude totally changed the next day. Like the first night, I was just kind of like, and admittedly, it reminded me a lot of those things that go around that are like, post your favorite color to promote breast
I totally get
cancer awareness. It just reminded me of that. Well, I was wrong to judge it so quickly. It was the next day that I really realized the magnitude of it, and the fact that like you might be someone who might not want to go into detail. You might just post Me Too. But then you realize like all these people that you didn't know were fighting battles. Are fighting these battles, and
that's
no
the
idea.
Power of the abusers and we know we're not alone, but yet we believe we are alone.
Right.
They make us feel
and that's
alone.
the power of keeping us silenced, and that's what really kind of came to a head with this movement. Is people are like, "Fuck it, I'm not being silent anymore."
Yeah,
and even if you want to be silent, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah,
you just have to post it.
Yeah.
Like
That's
hashtag Me Too.
exactly it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be public. You don't have to name names. You don't have to name when it happened.
Yeah.
You can just support.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
So
like
what did you think?
I first saw it because I actually follow Alyssa Milano, who started it. So I saw it.
Who was it?
Alyssa Milano.
She was the one who started it?
She's the one who
Well,
started it.
she started this
She started
time.
this
She
new
didn't.
run up.
Yeah,
she brought it back.
She brought
back
it.
because she's the one who started this new wave of it.
Yeah, woman of color, so
Yes.
intersectionality
Exactly.
comes into play here,
Yes.
and white feminism as well.
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
But yeah, so I saw it first, and I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." And then I started seeing it gain traction, and of course we see hashtag campaigns all the time for different things. And not to say that they're not important things, but it's easy for them to all kind of get lost in one big glob of one big hashtag glob. So once I saw this one was like really getting traction, and more people and more different people. Like it wasn't just the celebrities coming out. It was you're right, like coworkers. It was like people you knew. Like, and I was like, well, you know what? Everyone else is doing it, and the point of doing it is so that it gets bigger. So I'm gonna do it. So I hashtag Me Too, and then I was like, I don't feel like talking about it because like I feel like I've done it. I've talked a couple times about it. I've alluded to it, and it's too big a story to put in like whatever how many characters Twitter is now giving people. Yeah. But I just hashtagging Me Too is enough. I felt.
Yeah.
And then I saw you retweeted that really beautiful tweet about how like it was not just about the people who were brave enough or even like comfortable enough, not about bravery but comfort in their own stories to say Me Too, but there are so many other people who maybe don't feel comfortable yet.
Right.
But still experienced it, and those people are just as important,
and
they should not feel they should not feel like they are suppressing their voices or story because it's okay to not be there yet. Right. It's a traumatic experience, and everyone deals with it in their own different way, in their own time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the magnitude is already there.
Yes.
Even with the people in the community that haven't, posted that. I haven't. just because the people who matter to me know already.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, so like the people that haven't, they're not ignoring what happened. They're just not going to post it online and on social media. Exactly. However, like, it's big enough that everyone knows about it.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
And, like, I guess this is technically posting it. But,
this is
technically posting it.
You're joining the hashtag movement. We got you in the end.
I really hope that the people who don't post hashtag Me Too know that they're still supported.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
I agree.
Like, and that they're not hiding anything. They're just not gonna, you know,
they're not
publicize that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was telling Carmen before we started that, like, that day I felt a similar vibe to how I felt when Trump won the day after, where I just
hunted
felt
and vulnerable. That's what I felt.
Terrified.
Hunted
But I just
and vulnerable. And I was speaking with a gay friend of mine after the Pulse shooting, and like he felt the same way about the Pulse shooting as I felt the day after the American election. Like, just millions of people have decided that it's okay to treat women the way he displayed.
Yeah, like sexual objects that aren't actual people.
That's just what we are.
Yeah.
It's not exactly empathy, it's terror. It's being uncomfortable. It's not empathy this time around.
No, it's fear. I fear for every American woman. Like, I mean, I fear obviously for women all around the world. This is a global issue, but right now, I especially fear for American women.
Big time. And elephant in the room, but I mean, there's also let's name him Harvey, whatever his face.
Weinstein.
I don't even really want to like say his fucking name.
I don't blame you. Fuck that asshole.
So
he's the one that got caught.
Yeah, and how many women now? Is it 47? From what I read?
It's up to 100. It's over 100.
I believe it.
Last time I
it
checked.
seems every time I go on Twitter, there's at least 5 new stories from people coming out, and bless them for coming out, but bless them for having to go through that monster's touch.
Right.
Oh,
I think you posted an article about Jennifer Lawrence.
I read
Yes.
that.
Oh my god. And her naked thing,
that
like,
was
oh my god.
horrifying.
And just like how
She was
often does that
16?
happen? And then who was it that said they had to let the male lead put a dog collar on them? Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Molly Ringwald,
probably describes why she hasn't done anything in 20 years.
Right. Jesus Christ.
And she's like, that wasn't even in this part of the script I was reading. That was nothing.
He was told by the director to do it to her, and he was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it anyway. And she was just like, this is fucked. This is
like nothing like the excerpt I read.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing hinting towards dog collars.
And then she said she like fired her agent and got in her car and cried. And I was just like, Molly.
Jesus Christ.
I bet you there's probably only a handful of women in Hollywood that really don't have a story like that. Or, you know, it's a sick place there.
Maya Bialik, I want to like her so much. Like,
she's
I mean,
so
Blossom was one of my, like, I know, she was one of my, like, fundamental feminist icons.
I hate
and then, like, what the hell? What the hell, Maya Bialik? What the hell?
That was
with
such
her.
bullshit, I know.
I think what happened, like, I get where she's coming from. I just think she did it, like, in an intoxicated thing where she just sput it out there, like, just spat it out.
She definitely
didn't think it through.
Wait, sorry, I don't know this either.
She basically said she was like ugly, so she didn't get molested.
Yeah, and she was
came from a
grateful
good
that she
place.
was an unconventional looking like actress. Because
So
then
like
she was
totally
saved from
destroy,
that.
like, you know, reifying all the myths about rape.
Yeah,
it's about
interesting.
looks.
You have to be
and
a certain
sex.
level of attractiveness to get attacked. Like, no, don't. It's not.
That makes me feel icky.
I know, right? Like, it's not about if you're sexually attractive. I'm doing air quotes because like it's not a matter of being like a 10 or an 8 or a 5. It's not about sexual attraction. It's about power.
It's all
power.
about
Doesn't give a shit about how beautiful you are, what you're wearing. It's power.
And what's
So
her
true.
face from 22 Minutes? I can't remember the actress's name, but she did a monologue about how technically she's the one kind of in the powerful position, but yet she's been molested by like random audience members and different people. And I think it really, like, we see these women like Gwyneth Paltrow and Reese Witherspoon coming out and talking about their experiences, and it really speaks. Angelina Jolie, like, my God. It really speaks to the glass ceiling of power that women are against, and like it does, and well, really, actors and actresses, regardless of gender, are just kind of show ponies.
This happens to men too. It does.
Have you guys heard of the Lena Headey thing?
Yes.
That was messed up.
Yeah, I read that today.
Yes. Yeah. That was crazy.
I saw the headline, but I didn't read any details.
Well, like, remember the movie Brothers Grimm? Now, this was like a long time ago. Yeah, that was in the 2000s. Let's just put it there. She played this minor role. It was when she was first, like, budding as an actress. And we all know, well, I hope we all know, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, hell yeah.
She's amazing.
Cersei.
Amazing.
Game of Thrones.
But the thing is with her is that she was actually approached after that movie, like after all the promos and stuff, after obvious abuse from the director himself, but she was approached by Harvey, what's his face? Is it Harvey? I don't know.
It's Harvey.
But Harvey, what's his face? Yeah. At a hotel, and she denied him twice, 2 nights in a row. And after she denied him the second time, he escorted her out of the hotel by grabbing her by the arm and shoving her out and saying, "Don't tell anyone about this, not even your manager, not even your agent." And in the interview she gave, she mentioned, and I have never, ever been asked to do a Miramax movie ever again. Because when you look at it, there's like this gap for her.
There's
like,
for a lot of actors.
There's a gap.
And I think now we're going to look at a lot of these women and see that gap. Because, I mean, I was talking to my brother about it, and he's like, now I know what happened to Rose McGowan. I loved her. And all of a sudden, she was in nothing. And I was like, there's a lot of actresses.
There's a gap.
That you can find gaps in. And I guarantee you it's because of similar situations. That they were blacklisted because they weren't willing to do whatever some man wanted.
Yeah.
It is.
There's this huge gap.
And I can't say I blame these because they always get them when they're young. Like, how many of these stories from these women now they're coming out? They're like, it's obviously something I'm still dealing with, and it happened multiple times, but it happened when I was like 16 or 15 when I was the first actor starting. And if you're 16 or 15, you're a kid. And if you want to be in Hollywood and some man tells you he can get you there, I mean, come on. That's some sick predatory action because that's taking innocent little prey and just leading them into the slaughterhouse.
Because I think that's what Jennifer Lawrence said. She said, I did it because I thought that's what you just had to do.
Yeah. Reese Witherspoon as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the most terrifying thing about that is that it worked.
Yeah. Because that's how hard these systems were put into place for these women. That's how Hollywood worked. I mean, you hear it even in movies in like the 30s and the 40s, the casting couch. Like, oh yeah, she slept with so and so to get in this movie. Like, you know, she got this role on her back. Like, it was made into a joke to kind of cover the fact that it was real.
Right. And who do I have to blow to get attention?
Exactly. Like, they made it a joke about the women so that they could, you know, continue to do it. But it was all, that one, she got her job by sleeping with someone. Rather than she was forced into sleeping with some asshole who said he'd get them a role in order to get her into his bed. Which is so much worse.
Jesus
But they flip it. They flip it on the woman every time. They just put the blame on them. They put the trauma on them. And they expect them to hold it because they're the men. And that's how their systems and how their lives work.
God, it's fucking sick.
It's really sick.
It's disgusting.
And there's pedophilia too.
There's so much pedophilia. That's going to be the next tipping point. That's now that this whole women's sex thing is getting exposed, and it's going to keep getting exposed and keep getting bigger. I think it's going to just grow.
I mean, is that more names are coming wishful out. Thinking though? I mean, we've had other moments where we think this is it. And then it just kind of fades.
Now, here's one article that I actually found today is from a former U.S. Olympic gymnast.
Yeah, well, I mean, the guy she's accusing NASA, he's been accused he's already been
convicted. He's on trial for over 100 cases of assault. But the thing in the back of my mind is not that it happened to her, but he's been accused of over 100 counts of assault, and we haven't heard about it.
Oh, I've heard about that.
He's the doctor of the, like, most of the United States gymnast teams. And probably other teams. I mean, he's their doctor.
That's someone
over 30 years of abuse, and we're just kind of hearing about it now.
Well, that's been openly talked about in the feminist community for a long time. I would say.
How long?
Like, that's not the first time I've heard about it. That's the first time she's come out with her story. But that's not.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
At this point,
it obviously didn't reach you.
It's not in the like I'm saying. It's in feminist communities.
You almost have to
it hasn't gone
deep
really
to find these stories.
The mainstream.
It's almost on us to research enough to find out these real dark truths when they should just be exposed to all the light possible.
Like Harvey What's-His-Face is just because
he got caught.
He got caught, but he's like the owner of Miramax or whatever.
Not anymore.
Or
I was just gonna say, so he's done, right? Like he's
fired.
He's done. gone.
The only person I've seen who to really step up in the situation, it has to be Kevin Smith. He has said he's giving back all of his residuals, even if the Weinstein company itself collapses totally. He's going to continue giving the amount he was making in residuals a month for the rest of his life.
Wow. Kevin Smith is a fucking saint,
and
he's incredible. Like
he gets a ding.
His movie making abilities have waned over the years, I find.
So true.
But
sorry, Kevin. I think you're a great person.
I love Dogma at the same time.
My jam.
Well, this is... Yeah, I love Dogma and like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That was kind of his, I think, peak heydays. But he really is also a victim of the whole I had a daughter, so now I think women are people. Really, since he's had his daughters when we've seen this shift, and he's not quiet about that either as being his motivation for how... But he has always tried to be progressive in his views on women. How much can we fault him for being prone to that? I mean, I'm prone to my own intrinsic misogyny because that's the system I'm raised in.
It's bred into us, and it's bred into men in a different, more toxic way. But there are men. You're right, like Kevin Smith, that they're trying their best, but they have to overcome a lot of demons that weren't put there by themselves. Yeah. And I mean, God bless them for having to fight them, because I mean, as bad as our system is, and it is bad, their system is terrible in a different way entirely. I mean, they're taught to be totally closed into their feelings. They're taught that they're owed sex by women. Like, they're just, they have all of these things just put upon them and be like, this is what it is to be a man. You need to be this mold. You have to be this kind of, man up. How many times do you hear that? How many times do you hear that?
Adult up.
Yes.
That's it. Like, let's change that.
When you say man up, be a fucking grown up is what we mean.
Person, a full-fledged person
I like
on your
that.
own.
Adult up.
Like, my God.
Yes,
I still haven't hit that. Like,
I have not adulted up yet.
We're getting there.
It's a process. You know, by the time we retire, we'll be adults. You know?
Even then, we'll probably be like, do we ever feel this way?
Yeah.
1 foot in the grave, and I still feel like I'm a teenager.
That's a really good point to make, though, about the daughter thing.
Yeah,
I didn't a lot of celebs came out saying stuff like that, and they got shit.
Well, that's been a trope for a long time, and it's always bugged the shit out of me. And like someone, I reposted something this week about a tweet about never have I heard a woman say, I have a son, so now I know how to respect a man.
Oh my God. That's so fucking true.
Yes. I mean, it is great for some of these men that something finally does snap them out of the viewpoint, but it's really sad that that's what it takes.
It's kind of gross that this is the one woman you've never viewed sexually, and as a whole person, is a person you made. And
suddenly the world is different now.
That is a clear indication you have viewed every woman you've come into contact with in a sexual context. Like,
and
my
that's
God.
what you should be focusing on.
Yeah,
you should
exactly.
be like, it took having a daughter to make me realize how wrong I was. Not, like, my daughter, I don't want anyone to treat anyone like I would want my daughter to be treated. That's the wrong way to look at it.
Like that scene from Bad Boys where Will Smith and what's-his-face are threatening the 15-year-old boy who's come to date his daughter. Like, they're pulling a gun on him. And, like, my husband and I were watching this not too long ago. We're like, oh, let's watch this as, like, a fun throwback. And they were like, oh, my God, this is making us so uncomfortable. Because, like... Yeah, like, he's a child.
Holy fuck.
There are definitely a lot of media pieces, movies, television, that are going to be viewed so differently.
Well, the whole Taken series, in the first movie of that series, his daughter is 17 years old, and she's, like, running around pigeon-toed in her, like, little girl clothes, saying, oh, Daddy! And, like, they go way out of their way to make her look like she's 5, even though she's 17, 18 years old, and should have the right to her own sexual being. And, like, the only reason why she's worth so much to the sex traffickers is because she's a virgin. Like, it's
we're either children or we're whores, but we're never people. Like, why is
that? That's a great quote.
Why is that? Like, why is there no point where you look at us the same way you look at a man? Because we're literally the same. We just have different bits. Like, we're all people.
We have an innie instead of an outie.
Exactly.
Like, that's
I love that.
So, do we think that this campaign... Because I think we're getting two sides of the coin with this. Because we're getting people who are like, this is so great. Like, we're finally talking about it. We're opening a discussion. But then there's the other side of it of people just being like, it's disgusting that this is what it takes. Like, where do we do? I kind of fall on both.
So sad.
I kind of fall on
Everything
both
about
sides.
it is sad.
I fall on both sides too. I mean, it is sad that it took us to 2017 and all this scandal and all this to now. And now people are finally speaking up and be like, "Oh, this is what it took," and that is sad. Yes, but thank fucking God we got here. You know. Like,
and I would say we're still not over the hump.
Oh,
I would
we're
say
not
we're
quite
there
there
yet
because
because we haven't seen tangible results. Like we haven't seen any men really doing anything other than like Kevin Smith, like we talked about. But like, I mean, all the other men in Weinstein's sphere fucking knew.
They're doing
Ben Affleck knew.
Ben Affleck has groped so many fucking women.
Matt Damon knew.
I'm
sure the other director I saw knew. He says he doesn't know, but you can't be in that sphere and not know. I'm sorry.
I like the few men that have come forward, and I can't remember their names because there's so much to look at and so many names now to try and remember. But some of them have been like, you know what? Yes, I did know. And I didn't say anything, and I'm a fucking asshole, and I should have, and I'm sorry.
So that's owning up.
They are owning it
and
up.
that's better than I think that there's a lot of criticism going around
it's better
for
than
men who are like, okay, you want to show support, and they're using like the "we believe you."
Yeah.
We hear you, we believe you. It's like, no, like,
you really.
What are you doing about it?
It's
like, like, and I think taking ownership is a good first step.
Exactly.
I think the legal system has a lot to do with this as well. What actually legally defines harassment and assault.
Do we know? And wait, going back to the Kesh episode, we are not lawyers.
We're not lawyers.
But do we know what it is? Do we know what the legal definition is?
I do believe for like harassment, it entails something along the lines of like an established pattern of behavior. So, like, what? The first grab is free.
They have to do it at least twice.
And, like, it's by established behavior, do you mean once against 100 women or 100 times against one woman? Like, what is the threshold? And I think this whole standard of, well, it hasn't, like, with Cosby and the whole conversation around him, like, you know, we haven't seen it proven in court yet, so we can't trust these allegations. Like, there are now laws being proposed in states that state, you know, once X number of people come forward about a person, then it's just to be taken as fact that they have committed these acts.
That's fabulous.
And why do we not have something like that being discussed on federal levels? Because, I mean, really 50 women who've never met each other before, how can there be a doubt that something has happened?
I'd like that. Yeah. But I'm all in my mind as just like kind of like the Kill Bill thing where there's just like these 4 or 5 women just ganging up on a guy because they hate him. You know, I would try to avoid that.
Can you point to a case in real life where that has happened?
No, not at all. But but that's what I fear. That law gets abused, just like every other law gets abused.
But not that many laws do get abused.
Yeah, sexual assault. Yeah, sexual assaults are about the same rate as any other false report of a crime, 2% or less. And we're talking about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 women are assaulted or assaulted or harassed, and I believe that number is way higher when we take into account unaccounted for or unreported cases. 100%. Yeah. So the balance there just doesn't work out for me in terms of saying this is going to be abused. Like, what woman has gained fame and money from coming out with these that is part of the system that keeps women silent, is that there is no positive for them to come out.
Yeah. They just run in these same circles of, oh, well, maybe she didn't do it, or she's just trying to take down a man, or oh, she's just trying to get attention, and they just run.
Attention thing. What is with the attention thing?
They run this hamster wheel, and they never get anywhere with it, except we never get anywhere either.
Like, this whole, like, wanting attention thing, like, is that not one of the basic needs on the pyramid of needs of human, like, basic human attention? So why is it bad that a woman would ask for attention? Because she shouldn't. Because she should operate in the background. She should not be visible or heard. Like, that is the underlying attitude that kind of feeds that.
It's garbage. It's like, oh, she's just lying, or she's trying to get a big fat paycheck. It's like, oh, yeah.
What paycheck? $100,000? That's what Rose McGowan got from Harvey Weinstein. Like $100,000. That's worth it.
All us rape victims. We get checks in the mail. Like, I like, you know, like,
you're not getting residuals.
I'll go to Mexico off of my own.
Can I get alimony?
You know, like, serious.
You're not getting residuals on that shit. You're getting your $100,000, like, which is a drop in the fucking bucket compared to what they are worth.
Essentially, it's to shut you up.
Yeah, exactly. It's hush money. It all comes with non-disclosure agreements, and then like these women who are speaking up, some are naming names, some are not, because they could be sued.
Yeah.
And I mean, true. When you're a nobody and you're signing that, $1 million, $2 million, that's like working at Payless for the rest of your life, giving 80% of your paycheck over to these powerful men who have tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
But at the same time, I don't blame women who have taken that money and have signed
No, of course not. You can't.
None of us do.
That's what I'm saying is the only recourse that you really have, or the only
and at that point,
thing you can do.
You might think, maybe this will make it go away for me too.
Because if you don't take that, you are not working in Hollywood again. It's the whole system is set up against you. And then, of course, you just wanted that money. Well, again, $100,000 compared to what you could make as a famous actor or actress in the run of a lifetime. What is that? That's nothing.
Yeah, not that much. It's so true. Oh my God. Fuck.
It's like the Taylor Swift $1 lawsuit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's actually great. Yeah, that's a great point.
Russell Greer. Holy shit, Russell Greer.
Who's that?
He's a guy who sued Taylor Swift.
He's great. I never bothered to learn his name.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
No. He's a guy who has a facial deformity or like paralysis. And he's been suing famous women because when he gets backstage tickets, they're not giving him the type of attention he feels he needs because he's like stalking them and writing them songs and doing all these things. He's also tried to.
Guy. Where's my girlfriend?
He's a nice guy TM. Like the nice guy TM. He's tried to get prostitution legalized in Utah, even though he's a Mormon.
Good fucking luck.
But he's like stalks strippers and he stalks sex workers. Like the who I think it was Ariana Grande was the one he went after after Taylor Swift. I'm pretty sure it was Ariana. And like, but he's also going after women who don't have the resources to kind of fight him in the same way. God, but it's like I wore a tie and brought this stripper flowers, so she should like fall all over me.
That means I should at least get a handy, right? Like that's what that is owed to me, right? Like
all expectations.
Yeah, it's these expectations that they are owed things because they are nice to women.
Oh, the nice guys.
I haunt the nice guys. Can we talk about the nice guy?
Fuck, we can talk about the nice guy.
Effect.
That could be a whole podcast itself.
I think that should be its own podcast. Yeah, I love that subreddit where they make fun of them.
Yeah.
I've had so many nice guys in my life, and they are all the same, and they are just so awful.
It's a mask.
It is. It's a mask they used to hide. They used to hide their monster nature. They're like, oh no, I'm really nice and friendly, and I'll listen to your problems, and we'll be, you know, like you can lean on me.
The fact that friend zone is a pejorative is like telling. It just tells you everything you need to know about them. Like, how much do you not have to see a woman as a person to be able to say being a friend with one is just odious?
Oh, God. You mean I only get your friendship? Ugh. Sorry I ever talked to you.
It's like, but I don't want sex. It's like their whole, like, setup, too. Like, I don't want sex. I'm a nice guy, but then you don't give me sex. Like, reverse psychology, I guess. I don't know.
On the other end of it, you kind of get this, like, I'm your friend, I'm like, I respect you, and they skew it as they're being protective of you when really they're trying to control you.
You're a delicate flower. You need
really
someone like them to
type of misogyny.
You know, like it's true. Like they see women as fragile blossoms and damsels in distress, and they're gonna swoop in and save them, and then they're gonna fall in love with him, and then they're gonna have sex, and everything's gonna be great.
Yeah.
That's
not how it happens.
It's not how it happens, and it's not fair to fucking anybody. Like, can you imagine the world you have to grow up in to have that viewpoint? Like,
it's brutal.
It is.
Oh man. Well, we'll bring it back to, I guess, us. I've
had 2.5 glasses.
Yeah.
Let's get personal.
We're almost done our bottles here.
So, like, I guess I'm gonna take the whatever and bring it on. The talking stick. Was it a talking stick or a spirit stick? Like you have a stick. You have like you pass the stick around to talk or whatever.
Has the clamshell has the floor.
Yeah. I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna share what happened to me.
Go for it.
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't care. Like I was telling Carmen before we came on. She was here a bit early. And I was just saying how it's never been in my nature to not talk about stuff. Like, so it's just... No, really?
Sarah? I know anything about Sarah. Sarah likes to talk.
But I guess I just mean in the sense of, like, I don't know, I tend to always speak up when I disagree or whatnot. And so when this happened, I was just like, I gotta do an episode about it because
good for you.
It's just, this is my platform. This is like my diary and my baby that I'm putting out in the world. But I also realize that, like, a lot of times I hide behind my guests a little bit on the show, and I focus on the guest and their stories, what they have to say, and them. And, little tidbits of my experiences will come out.
Can we do a podcast where I interview you one day?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm down for that.
An AMA.
Yes.
Yeah. I would love that. And I have listen, this is primarily a comedy podcast. It's usually quite... I don't want to use the word light, but the tone is usually comedic.
Yes.
And I take a lot of stances of, I don't get laid. I don't get any dick. Oh, this sucks. Like, why aren't I getting fucked? Like, and I kind of take this stance. And this whole week has made me realize why, which is that I've gone through some stuff that has actually made me scared of having sex.
Humor is one of the easiest defenses to use to hide behind things.
100%. And I've realized that I've been doing that. And I guess I would say that, like, my first experience was actually at the Mount. First year university. I was in a relationship at the time. It was long distance relationship, which is like Anna Ganesh, like that's 2 hours away. It's not that bad. But high school hormones was like, the world is ending. I'm 2 hours away from my boyfriend. But that again plays into, how we think. And there was actually like a friend of a frosh leader, position of power, that was visiting from St. Mary's. So he was actually not even a Mount student, but he was a friend of a frosh leader at the Mount. So he was there partying. Okay. And we had talked and developed a rapport, and he came into my room, and my door was like, I always had my door open. I was like an open door girl. Like, my door was always open, like, come on in, talk, hang out. And I think the first thing for me was that he shut the door. Ooh. Yeah. And sat beside me and started like being really touchy-feely, and eventually actually just pinned me down. And luckily enough, I was like, get off, I have a boyfriend. I pushed him off. And immediately went to my RA, and she actually had him banned from the Mount.
God bless her.
That was my first experience. And like,
snaps.
Props to her.
This was first year university. Me and Amanda, you and I met in first year. I was in a long-term relationship at the time, and where I went to first in my mind was, my boyfriend is going to be so mad at me. That I let a boy into my room. I let him get so close that he would do that. And I remember, like, I'm pretty sure we had a fight about it. I don't really remember. That relationship didn't last that long after that.
Good.
Yeah. But that was only my first experience. My second experience was definitely like further down the road. I would say probably about 4 years ago, with a casual sex partner. I think I was at a time in my life where I was feeling like I had to start knocking experiences off my list, like being more kinky.
Okay.
Like,
that makes sense.
Like, oh, I'm too vanilla. Like, I gotta start trying some rough stuff. And
why would you go immediately to rough stuff?
I don't know.
Like, why does kinky equal rough stuff?
I don't know, but that's the thing I don't know.
Maybe it's because, was it like the exact opposite of what you were
probably
normally into? Maybe you were probably trying to go from one extreme to the next.
I think a part of me knew I always liked certain aspects of rougher sex.
Yeah.
Part of being a sub.
Keyword being aspects.
Oh, exactly. You don't have to love the whole thing. You can give it some pieces. That's what sexuality is.
And also, keep in mind as well, like, I've been single for almost 6 years. So this whole 6 years has been, like, either friends that I'm hooking up with or casual sex partners. Yeah. It has not even been anywhere near short-term dating.
Yeah.
So I was hooking up with this guy, and he just flat out went out and struck me across the face.
Without, like, even talking about it first?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's unacceptable.
That's no good.
And the thing is in that moment, I wasn't immediately like, oh, shit, fuck you. I was like,
but you're not.
Looking back now, I was in shock.
Of course.
Like, looking back, like, and at the time, I'm the excuse girl. I made excuses. I was like, oh, well, we were, like, it was the heat of the moment. Like, I made so many excuses. That was back then. Looking back now, that was not fucking cool.
That's not.
And I was in shock.
Of course.
And this was also a friend, so
double shock.
There's a level of
comfort and trust that you assume.
And leeway almost. Leeway. As well, of being like,
level of forgiveness.
You kind of slipped up there, but we're friends, so whatever.
No, I get that.
So that was the second time. And I will say, like, you gotta talk about that shit before you do that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Sex is a thing. You like what you like. Do it safely. Talk about it.
Safe words.
Do it with partners you trust. Like that's my thing. Like what I'm saying right now. Like if I started seeing someone and told them I liked being slapped in the face, like then you develop that and you talk about it. And but this was out of nowhere, and this and
it's not how it.
The thing that is crazy to me is I had a female friend at the time who was going through a similar thing, and we met up at a bar, and she had a bruise on her face, and we high-fived.
Oh my god.
But in a way, you were...
Because we were both so oblivious. Like, we were so...
You were connecting on a level that you probably didn't even notice at the time.
Exactly. Because in our minds, at that time...
It's not just me.
We were being sexually experimental, and we were...
trying new things.
Sowing our wild oats.
That's not what it was at all. And I know that now.
Yeah.
And
takes a while.
It's fucked up. And that was only the start of it. The big one, I call it, is the thing that happened 2 years ago, which is I had another, again, casual sex. Maybe it's just not for me, but it doesn't seem to work out whenever I do it. Had a casual sex partner that was like probably my longest term casual sex partner. Let's call it that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was long over time, but still very casual. And it was very, like, so casual to a point of, like, it started with a Facebook message being like, "You're hot, I want to bang you. Can I come over?" Yeah, sure.
Charlie, nothing wrong with
in
that.
the door. Hi, nice to meet ya. Clothes off. Banging. So
nothing wrong with that.
So casual.
Yeah.
And he was a dom. But not a good one. So
he was a real sadist.
Yeah. No discussion.
Nope.
No aftercare.
Oh, he's not a dom, he's an asshole.
Yeah. Like nothing.
He's an abuser.
It started with, the choking and like just a lot of pinning, and it progressively got worse, and it kind of led to, and I'm going to put a trigger warning like on this episode because it is pretty brutal, but like a lot of pushing my face into the pillow to a point where I couldn't breathe. Hitting, there was a lot of hitting on the face. Biting to a point of breaking skin where I was bleeding. I had bruises. And going back to the high five thing, I would share pictures of my bruises with my friends as a bragging thing at the time. So that's fucked up.
You don't. That's fucked up. You thought you were being this bold person because that's what he made you think.
Yeah, isn't that messed up?
You're being wild and uninhibited. You're an amazing girl. Like, oh my god, I can't believe you're letting me do this.
Don't get. If you start, I will start, and I cannot cry right now.
I'm getting a little teary-eyed, people.
Yeah, but
I have a box of tissues in my purse. I think.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, we're good. It's
all flashbacks. It's flashbacks.
Yeah, it is. And the bruises, like there was a lot of bruises. It got even worse to a point where he would spit in my face.
Nope.
I don't even like spitting on my pussy.
I did not mean to lie, guys.
You would not expect that word. I love it.
I needed that.
Love it.
Comedic relief.
One thing I just want to talk about, for one, is forced blowjobs and the
that's rape.
Fucking.
That is rape.
Yeah. So I guess technically then I have been, because that would happen, and it would be to a point of like scary. It's scary. Like you can't breathe, and
you're
and
gagging,
you don't know what's going on, and like, and there's an aspect of me sexually where I do say I'm submissive, but I'm not a sub. Like I do like making my partner feel good.
Yeah.
But it was really bad, and the breaking point for me was when he was really into crush, like just putting all his weight on me. So, and he was like a very big guy, So he would be on top a lot and like pushing in the bed, and my ribs broke. So this would have been right before New Year's Eve. It was around Christmas time, and when it happened, I thought, ow, that hurts. Oh, must have just pulled a muscle. Let's keep going. I'll finish up. Bye-bye. It wasn't until the next day that I felt the pain. And even then I was, again, the excuse queen, making excuses. Oh, he just leaned on me wrong. Oh,
I pulled something.
Yeah, we just went a little too hard. And I was so fucking oblivious to the fact that, like, I was just letting this guy fucking abuse me, like to this point. And, yeah, it was brutal. It was just not a good time. And I remember, like, wanting to go out for New Year's Eve and wanting to have fun. And I was just, like, in so much fucking pain because when your ribs are broken,
every movement, every breath,
do shit.
You can't breathe without pain.
I was going to say, right breathing is hard, right?
I even told him, and his response was bummer.
Oh, God.
Ooh. Yeah. And I will add as well, like, my friends were never supportive of the things I would do with this guy. And the ribs thing was just, it was quite literally my breaking point, no pun intended. Like, my roommate at the time knocked on my door, and she was like, oh my God, I thought you were crying. And then I look up, and I was actually crying. She's like, holy shit, are you okay? And that's when I broke down about it. So that was a long time ago. And that was the thing for me. I've not been with him since.
Good.
I'm guilty for almost having been with him since.
No, you're not guilty.
You're not guilty of anything.
No.
Yeah. He's guilty of assault and rape.
Yeah.
But you're not guilty of anything.
It's very true.
And they get up, some of these men, they get a hold over you. It's almost like a hypnotism thing, you know? And then the next thing you know, they're like, oh, but you want to come back. And you think, oh, maybe I do want to come back.
Yeah. Well, it's about normalizing. You don't want to accept that you have been dehumanized to that point. Yeah. So you will do anything to make it seem normal.
Yeah. And
anything.
Yeah. And he's made you feel like this special wild woman, and you don't want to not be the special wild woman.
And that was exactly it. And it took me so long to realize, like, you took away my sexual power. You took away my power, just my general power.
And that's
my emotional power. Like, I just have not been, I've just been so focused on, I just want to get laid. But it's so much deeper than that. I'm scared to.
Of course.
I'm scared to, like, trust a guy again. To that point. I've been, I think since that happened, I've had sex twice. And both with friends that I had slept with before, and I don't even think I really enjoyed it.
Of course not, because
you were terrified.
Yeah, even if you weren't aware of it, that was in the back of your head.
Yeah, so
defense.
That's my story. Sorry, I had to get that one out.
No, don't apologize.
Don't apologize.
Yeah. You are a brave, amazing person.
Yeah, so that's what did it for me, and that's what I'm still dealing with. I feel like I'm getting there, but I think so much of it is like a confidence thing too. I don't think I've ever had a healthy level of confidence, and this just totally
knocked you to the floor,
destroyed it.
Yeah, 100%. And the sick thing is, and I'm gonna get ranty here, the sick thing about it is like, I know people who know this guy and know what he does, and they don't say anything.
That's the worst of it.
And I also know that this guy has a wonderful, well, quote unquote, in the Instagram sense, a very Instagrammable relationship with a very beautiful one.
I was literally in my mind thinking, don't say girlfriend.
I knew it.
And so I'm here, like, single for 6 years, really trying to, like, people take this stance of, like, you're desperate because you're so focused on finding a relationship. And here's my stand that I thought about today, and I'm like, this is how I word it. I'm not desperate for that. I'm desperate to be proven wrong. Like, prove me wrong, men. Like,
understandable.
Give me a I don't know what a healthy sexual dynamic looks like anymore because of this experience.
It colors your whole world.
Like, I know it exists. I've heard other people talk about it. But it's been a very long time since I have experienced that.
All right, so
thank you. Aww, thank you guys. Yeah,
I guess
this is real personal. We're going real deep with the personal stuff here on my end. But
and along those lines, now we're about to go like circa like 2000s here. along the lines of it sticks with you.
Yeah.
And it shapes who you are.
Big time.
My abuse happened when I was 15. However, I actually thought back, and the first time that I was ever sexually abused was verbally, but I was 10 years old. My friend at the time was 12. Her boyfriend was 15. And that right there is fucked up.
That's fucked up. That is inappropriate. That is really inappropriate.
Exactly.
Damn.
So that right there is messed up.
Yeah.
I've always hung out with people that are older than me. Always have.
Me too. Yeah.
And that's when it started.
Yeah.
So my best friend at the time was 12. Her boyfriend was 15. They were having sex, obviously.
Obviously?
And, no, listen. Okay. So, think about this. I also skipped a grade. So this was 6th grade?
Fuck. Jesus Christ.
6th
I would have been getting my
grade.
first period around that time.
I hadn't even had my first period at that point. Anyway, and we were at the play yard, like the playground at our, like, pre-high school times. I'm also French, so, like, our school is really different than English school. It's, like, K to 8 and then 9 to 12.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so we were in the yard, and we were hanging out on the side of, like, beside the woods, and her boyfriend hands me a condom. Now, again, I am 10 years old. I have no fucking clue what that is.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got something for you. And he hands this to me. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, it's a condom. And I'm like, condom? Like, how do you spell that? And he tells me how to spell it. And he's like, oh, you don't know what it's for? I would have thought that you would have known what it's for.
Oh, my skin is crawling. Whoa.
And now, it's not just me and him. It's me, him, her, and our friends. And again, I am friends with people who are 12 or older. So they're all laughing at me. And it took me this long. It actually took me... by the time that Sarah asked if anyone wanted to come on here, I kind of went through my memories. I never quite realized that was abuse until now.
Right.
I remember it as just all of my friends laughing at me.
Of course.
Because I didn't know what this thing was. I didn't know what this word was.
That's the part you focused on.
And that's what stuck in my memory. But now thinking about it, I'm just like, this 15-year-old guy who was dating my best friend gave me a condom and just assumed that I knew what it was for.
This worldly 10-year-old.
Dude.
10 years old.
Holy shit.
Okay.
I'm pouring another glass.
So bad.
I know, right?
That's terrible.
Oh my god.
It's creepy.
I don't even think I knew what sex was until like 8th grade.
Really?
Okay.
Well, I know, maybe.
Is that not like a key to preventing so much of this? Is just educating people from an appropriate age? Like,
I learned everything I know about sex from Sailor Moon fanfiction.
Really? When I was like 5 or 6, I bought a Peanuts biology book. And it talked about how the egg inseminated, or the sperm inseminated the egg, but it didn't tell how the sperm got from the daddy to the egg.
Oh, you missed a step.
It had the mystical side. I didn't tell that part. So then I remember very vividly as a 5-year-old, like, annoying my mother to the point where she was almost to tears. And she finally told me about what sex was. Because I was just like, I don't understand how this doesn't make sense. How does it get from one person to the other?
She can only dodge you for so long.
Yeah, she was refinishing a door in the garage. I remember, like, that much. And, like, she finally told me. And I was just like, ew, and ran away. And, like, you know, that didn't damage me in a way. Like, it gave me power in a certain way of,
Knowledge
like, knowing that. And, like, in an age-appropriate way. Like, I wasn't told really what sex is or this whole kind of adult understanding. It was just like, it's when the penis goes in the vagina so it can deliver the sperm.
Anatomical part of it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, exactly.
That's important to know.
Mm-hmm. Now, we go until I was 15. So, at this point, like, I was raised by 2 pagans. Like, I was told that organized religion was bullshit. So, on my own, I decided to join a church. And I considered myself a devout Christian. So I believed in no sex before marriage. I believed in essentially self-confidence, which was surprising considering it was Baptist. So now I started dating this guy. he hung out with a bunch of my friends. I was 14, he was 17, and we started dating. And he was also very Christian. It's kind of how I knew him. We both agreed that, we wouldn't have sex before marriage. It's only supposed to be between two people. And then I turned 15, and I can't remember when this happened, but he gave me a promise ring and said, as soon as you turn 18 and we can make this official, I want to marry you. At this point, I was 15, he was 18. And I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely. I love you. I was 15. That's what you do, right? And then eventually, now, in my brain, still to this day, 10 years later, I blame myself.
Oh, isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Okay, so eventually, he had sex with me. And now, at the time, I thought I was consenting because I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't saying anything. It took me months to realize this, to actually start enjoying it, because this guy said, well, I've given you a ring. We're going to be together forever. We could start having sex now.
Mm-hmm. Why wait when we know what the inevitable is?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, we'd been dating for about a year, 6 months to a year, and, to a newly devout Christian and, dating a Christian boy, you'd think that would be okay. So we started having sex, and it took me a while before I started enjoying it. And it's difficult for me to say that I enjoyed it, because sex is enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I know that now. However, it took me a long fucking time to actually enjoy having sex with him. It's not that it was painful, it was awkward.
Mm-hmm. You weren't getting anything out of it.
I wasn't getting anything out of it. I was doing it because it was my duty. Mm-hmm. So now, fast forward until I was, 17, 18, going to university. And I realized that I didn't miss him when he was away. And my 18th birthday was looming, and I'm like, shit. I am trapped in this relationship because I've had sex with this guy. I can't leave him.
Of course, shit.
I can't leave him, but I don't love him. I don't miss him. I'm away from him, yet, I have no attachment to him. And finally, I caved and broke up with him and told him I didn't love him. And about 6 months later, after even more abuse, but we'll get to that in a second, I was asked to lead a youth trip for my old church. And we were in the van with a bunch of 14, 15, 16-year-olds in the back, and the topic of sex came up. And of course, I made sure that none of the kids heard me, but I talked to one of the other leaders, and I'm like, you know what, I broke up with him, but is sex before marriage really that bad if you know that you're going to marry them? And my friend looked at me, she's like, is that why you did it? What happened exactly? Why did you decide to have sex before marriage? Because again, this is extremely Christian.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, he gave me a ring, and he said that we would be together forever, and so I guess I just owed him. Ooh. And she said, that's not right. I was 18 at the time. It took me 3 years to realize what had happened. It took me being with him forever, maximum 6 months of me not enjoying sexual intercourse, and going through all these things in another abusive relationship to realize that what happened wasn't right.
Yeah.
And it messes with you.
Big time.
Yeah. So what happened there, between breaking up and realizing what had happened to me as a child, I was with this other guy. Now, this other guy was a guy that I went to Bible school with in the summer. So yet another Christian boy. Everyone kind of joked around saying, oh, yeah, he really likes Carmen. He totally likes Carmen. But I had a boyfriend at the time, so I didn't do anything about it. He ended up at the same university as me. As soon as I broke up with my ex, he started hitting on me, and, you know, things came up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not a virgin, you know, things like that. And then he just went with it. And now we're going to the forced fellatio part of the relationship. So I enjoyed sex with him. I did. But every once in a while, he would pin me down. Like, legs on my arms on a bed and force himself into my mouth. And that, like, it took me about a month or two to realize that I am uncomfortable with this, and I broke up with him. And then after that is when I went on that youth trip. And it took a while to realize that just because you think you owe someone something does not mean that it's consent. That was like my first experience. And when I was 18, I realized that I was raped when I was 15 for months on end. So
you never owe someone your soul.
You never owe anyone anything. No. Fuck that shit.
No, not your body, not your soul.
No.
But now, as an adult, like ever since those 2 relationships, I've been extremely guarded.
Oh, of course.
I'm a huge prude. I have safe words. I have to go out on like 4 or 5 dates before I even think of touching them. I've actually stopped talking to friends because they've sexually assaulted me. Someone came up to me while I was moving. Someone offered to help me move once and came up behind me, grabbed my hips, and whispered in my ear, "Can I help you with this box?"
Stop. Oh my God.
Yeah. And after that day, I haven't spoken to him since.
Good.
He didn't do anything. He didn't assault me. However,
he did.
He harassed you at the
It
very
was at least harassment, if not assault.
At the same time, like, he didn't penetrate me. He didn't grab my boobs. He didn't do anything sexual. However,
he did something sexual.
Touched me inappropriately. As no one else would.
The hands on the hips is like almost, dare I say it, like he's about to
doggy styling.
Yeah,
it's doggy style.
It gives a signal that brings your brain to a certain situation.
Yeah. So, like, with all my partners, I consider myself like a slutty prude. I really am. Like,
that would be a great hashtag. Slutty prude.
A slutty prude.
I want that on my tombstone.
You're a sexual person, but you're way more guarded because of because of your experiences. I feel the same friggin' way.
Outside of Halifax, I am the biggest slut in my group of friends. Like, I've had people that have been like with 2 people, 4 people, and I'm like above 10, and I stopped counting. So, but at the same time, like, I am extremely guarded. I tell people now, it's like a disclosure. As soon as they start being physical with me, like, look, I was abused when I was a kid. If you push too far, I will hate you forever. There is a breaking point. There is a line that if you cross it, you will never speak to me again.
Brings up a point, though. Do you think, when you're in the early stages of dating, do you think that can intimidate guys that you're dating?
I usually bring it in.
I agree. Who cares?
Like, that is your truth. If that is your truth, you need to speak it. And if they don't like it, they can fuck off. They're not the person you want to be with.
Yeah, it's so true.
For me, there's like 2 lines. It's like the physical intimacy line, which is, like touching, cuddling, maybe kissing, And then as soon as they start to be sexual, groping. So there's a difference between touching and groping.
Oh, huge.
Right? Huge. As soon as they start groping, usually like after that, unless they like really go bonkers, but usually after that date, I'm just like, look.
We need to
I am damaged.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people, like, I'm damaged. Like, it takes a while for me to trust you, but let me know that, like I will tell you right now, once I cross that threshold, I am all over the place. Okay?
I'm worth getting through the baggage.
Exactly.
Let me tell you.
And I think it goes without saying that you shouldn't do shit like I don't know. There's a level of fucking human decency that you show someone when you're hooking up with them.
Yup.
That you don't do certain things without...
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, but why do guys think that this is acceptable?
Because they're raised that way.
That's totally it.
Porn and entitlement.
Yeah.
Like, raised that way, yes. It's the entitlement that's just inbred.
Yeah.
And porn reifies it to no end.
Porn these days is just it's so sad.
I used to like porn when you had to go into the little room, and then there was like VHSs.
Oh, yes!
And it was like, oh my God, that is my first experience with porn. I'm that old, okay? That is my first experience with porn. It's going into the little room at the VHS place. And half of it is softcore, so you're not really seeing anything too crazy. It's just like sex stuff. With weird, like
they're so emotional.
Like
maybe it's the girls, but we're just
Cinemax.
Like, it's just so emotional.
Cinemax, like my God. Like
oh my God,
I saw porn. And, like, you know, there's not a lot of pink. There's not a lot of exact, like, dick money shots. It's just sex and, like, some weird, usually funny, like, storyline around it. And, like, it was harder to get your hands on hardcore shit back in that day. And, like, it was such a novelty to be able to see this because now I can finally go into that room now that I'm 18 or 17 and they don't really care because I'm going with my 18-year-old friend. Like, that is my introduction. Like, I am Gen X, and like that is kind of what my introduction to porn was. And as soon as it turned into this like amateur fuckfest of like everything crazy you can think of,
porn was so
like I just turned off of it so bad.
My God, and it just boggles my mind that this is a thing that has happened to so many female friends that I know, where guys have done the forced blowjob thing or hit, like, what the fuck? It's really fucked up.
It's because they're taught this because, like, porn nowadays, especially ones geared to males, cater to that fantasy. And it is a fantasy. And there's nothing wrong with that fantasy.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with being a consenting adult who's into that fantasy, male or female. But the problem is these videos don't show the important steps first.
Exactly.
They don't show the talk about consent. They don't show about the safe words. They don't show about how you might get a couple slaps in to kind of feel how hard someone even wants to be hit. Like, there are important things you need to do first, but that'll get skipped over. So these kids, they grow up not knowing those steps even exist.
Well, even like the produced stuff is better in that there's like 30 people in that room when that scene is shot. Like, there's not a lot of subterfuge. There's not a lot of coercion that's going on. It's
true.
kind of like you see a script.
You
see a script beforehand. You know what's going to happen.
You're a professional actor.
Exactly. You meet. You've
there
been
is still
tested,
good professional porn.
But with the like with Hot Girl Wanted, that documentary by Shahi, or what's her name?
Rashida Jones.
Yes, Rashida Jones. Like, the amateurs where women are being abused, they are being like pimped out to these gross men who
exactly
just
what it
like
is.
they are paying hundreds of dollars to go and be sexually abused and not make anything.
Because amateur porn is the nitty gritty. It's, you know, like on a phone. It's, you know, in a back room. Like, it's
like the hidden cam.
It means exactly
heavily
regulated from what
like,
amateur should mean.
And like, but there are still production houses doing like the corny parodies and like, you know, stuff, and like, and there is feminist forward stuff happening as well, where it's like just real couples recording themselves having sex, or people having produced sex, but
those are
it's
great.
real production where there are people and it's
awesome. When I worked at Pleasures and Treasures, there was a whole shelf devoted to like couple porn. And it was like, and the back of those were so much cooler to like the other stuff that some of it
so much more real.
Like, it was real. It was like, you know, Jack and Elaine have just moved into a new house and they need to christen every room as newlyweds. And it's like,
okay. Now, before we move on to more shitty stories.
Fuck you, more? Jesus.
There's 4 people here. We've only gone through 2.
Oh, I thought you had more. Oh, okay.
Now, I have a good little blip.
Okay.
Okay, so I met this guy about 3.5 years ago. We started out dating, and we figured out that the sex is phenomenal. However, we had very different morals.
Okay.
He wanted kids right away. I want kids when I retire.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, like, I want kids when I can afford to have kids.
Which will definitely be when you retire.
Exactly.
Even then, nowadays.
You never know. At least by then, if I can't afford it, I'll have the time to do it.
Yep.
There we go.
Fostering is where it's at.
Yes. Nice.
I want to adopt, exactly. I do not, I've never planned on popping out children.
Why don't we have the technology where we can just put them in a tube and let them grow outside
That's coming soon. That is happening. We're getting there.
Okay, so 3.5 years ago, I went on this date with this guy. Friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, you know. And over time, like, he was the most respectful person I have ever met in my life. And I think that's why the sex is good.
It's so true.
You know, like, we've been off and on, like, whenever I've started, like, we have a rule. If either of us go on a date, not even dating, go on a date with someone, our deal's off.
Okay.
We are very strict, well, I'm very strict about that. But that's my rule.
I like it.
But it's been going on for over 3 years, probably 3.5 by now. Fantastic fucking sex. But you know what?
What's that like?
I know. Well, here's the thing. It's consent.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
So, even when we're still in the dating stages, I'm just like, dude, I was maybe 21, 22, maybe. I'm just like, dude, I had previous experiences. They were really, really bad. And I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And I said my safe word. My safe word is apples.
Apples.
Oh, nice.
Apples.
That's a good one.
It's based off TV show Castle. Apples, apples. Because who the fuck would say apples in bed?
Yeah.
Unless you're, you know, a Mexican apple thief. But let's not go there. So, now here's the thing. Like, over the years, we have experimented with everything.
Right.
Toys, bondage, anal, everything you can ever think of.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
However, it's all about consent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the hottest thing of all.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is.
Even if he brings it up, I don't have to bring it up. Even if he brings it up, he always proposes it to me first. He says, I've been thinking, you know, I was at Venus Envy the other day. I saw this, like, really cool underbed, you know, strap contraption. Ooh. If I bought that, would you be okay with trying it out?
Yeah. That's awesome.
And you know what? It is awesome.
He sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all it takes, guys, is
Yeah.
fucking consent.
Yeah.
Conversation and consent.
Being open.
It's being open and respecting your partner's boundaries. As soon as you do that, you can go for whatever you like.
Yep.
Okay? I'm not saying that everyone likes bondage and anal, but
At least you can definitely bring it up and talk
you
about it.
can bring it up. Exactly. You never know.
Maybe you can at least try it once and find out if it's for you.
Yeah.
How else will you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's two consenting people.
Yeah.
The sex is fucking fantastic.
See? Yeah, that's just it. And that's what it takes.
And the big secret is consent. Consent.
Mm-hmm.
Consent. Do it, goddammit.
Just whisper it into the mic this whole time.
If we whisper it in sexy voices, maybe you'll take it serious.
That's
And you know
a
what?
really
He's
good
probably
note.
going to listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make him listen to this.
At least we're saying good things.
He's gonna get his ego stroked. Damn. He's like, this girl's
That's the only thing that's going to get
He ends up listening. He's like, you told them about the under the bed strap on?
There's also a strap-on. I bought a strap-on for him because he...
How powerful do you feel wearing a strap on?
I actually hate it. It's so
Really?
uncomfortable. So you know what? I just take it off and I shove it in his ass.
Consenting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Consentently.
Yeah.
She shoves it into his consenting ass.
Yeah. You
His
ask him.
begging ass.
Nice.
He was begging for it.
Yeah. Ding ding. I'm gonna wear the spell out.
But yeah, that's all it takes, guys, is fucking consent.
Just talk about it.
Even damaged
And
people.
I think too, it's like sometimes guys might feel embarrassed, maybe. Like they might have something in their head about what they want to do, and they don't know how to bring that up to their partner.
That's totally fair, because you're right, you know? That's a thing.
Because they've been taught that they're the boss, and they should be able to take what they want.
Yeah, so why would they bother talking about it? But they want to talk about it. But does that mean they're soft? Does that mean they're not really mad? No, it doesn't. It means you're awesome. Talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Like, just because you want something doesn't, like, just talk about it.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is that they can say no.
Yep.
Exactly.
And
there you go.
The second worst thing is you'll try it and then they'll say no. But at least you got to try it and you knew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You never know. You might not like it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right? So that's my little lighter bit to this.
Your positive note.
Yes, positive notes.
Good.
All right, let's go back to
Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Or we can...
I'm sure
It's
there's
up to you
lots
guys.
more.
I mean, I got like a boatload.
Where does one start?